Hi, this video is looking at a question: how does the writer show the power and violence of the shark? This is for the EDUQAS reading paper, paper 1. This question could be worth 10 or 5 in your exam. In this case it's worth 5. So the question is, how does the writer show the power and violence of the shark? Read lines 40 to 47. The extract will be in the video. But if you want to have a look at the extract, I might copy it into the video comments. You should write about what happens in these lines that show the power and violence and the writer's use of language. Comments from the November exam as that people spend too much time spent on low mark questions. So this is a 5-mark question, so we shouldn't be spending 13 minutes on it. It's a 5-mark question, so you should be spending about 5 or 6 minutes. Whatever you do after 5 or 6 minutes, you just move on. Don't spend extra time. It's only worth 5 marks. More quotes are needed. So for example, in a 5-mark question, we should be looking for 5 or 6 quotes. Okay, the examiner says plenty of quotes give students high marks, so we're going to follow that. And more quotes needed across the whole text, and I'll talk about that later on. Okay, so far too much feature spotting, so this means we don't want to do stuff like saying that's alliteration, that's a simile without saying its effect. And the way you're going to get marks in this question is recognising words and recognising why has the writer decided to use these words. Okay, so we're not going to make the same mistakes that we did in the November exam or previous exams because we're going to get the same result. So what we're going to do, we're going to come up with a little plan, and our plan is going to be, for a 5-mark question, pick 4 of 6 quotes. For a 10-mark question, 8 to 10 quotes. Take quotes from the beginning, middle and end of the extract. No PEs more than 3 lines on an A4 page. I will talk about this more in detail as we go on. Number 5, explain how your quote you pick links to the exam question. And don't mention similes, alliteration, you're going to waste time. The way you're going to get your marks is saying why the writer's chosen those words and what effect they have. Why do we want a lot of quotes? Why have I talked about quotes so much in the space of a few minutes? Well, these answers here are 2 student answers. Okay, they're basically the same length, and actually the students are about the same ability. The only difference is one student has used a lot of text and one student hasn't. The person on the left has used 1 quote. This means they get 1 out of 5. So even if they did quite a good answer, the fact that they've not shown a lot of quotes means they're narrowing what they can get. However, this person on the right did 6 quotes, and like I say, the students are relatively similar in terms of ability, but because the student on the right has used lots of quotes, they've got a higher mark. So that's what you should be going to do, as many quotes as you can. Okay, the question again is, how does the writer show the power and violence? So this was a 5-mark question. Like I said, we're looking at 4 to 6 quotes and 5 to 6 minutes. If it's a 10-mark question, 8 to 10 quotes and 13 minutes. So this question is all about zooming in on keywords and thinking to yourself, why has the writer used them? Coverage, this is a term that the examiners use quite a lot, and this means, they always say with student answers they haven't got enough coverage. So this means using quotes from all parts of the selected lines. So if we look at the text that we're looking at, okay, only about 10 lines or so. However, if you only took quotes from the first section like this, you're not showing coverage, you're not showing the beginning, middle and end, and because of that you would struggle to get more than 1 or 2 out of 5. However, this person below has used lots of quotes from all over the extract, the beginning, middle and end, so because of that they're going to get a high mark. Okay, like, even though there seems loads of quotes at the bottom, you could actually take 4 or 5 quotes out, as long as you make sure you have quotes in the start, beginning, the middle and end. That's showing the examiner that you've read the whole piece. Write your answers from top to bottom as well. So what I mean by that is, if your first point you're going to talk about is the bit where it says near the house, use that as your first point. And a few spectators there to see them off at the bottom, use that as your final point. So keep it in order, and that will make it a lot clearer. Okay, how does the writer show the power and violence of the shark? 5 marks. So you're going to look for keywords that make the shark seem violent and powerful. Okay, so look for language that makes the shark seem quick and powerful. So let's read the text. It's only about 10 lines or so. The fish had moved away. It swallowed the woman's limb without chewing. Bones and meat passed down the massive gullet in a single spasm. Now the fish turned again, homing on the stream of blood flushing from the woman. This time the fish attacked from below. It hurtled up the woman, jaws agape. The great pointed head struck like a train, knocking her up out the water. The jaws snapped around her torso, crushing bones and flesh and organs into a jelly. The fish with the woman's body in its mouth smashed down on the water with a thunderous splash, spewing foam and blood in a violent shower. So again, look 4 to 6 quotes that make the shark seem powerful and violent. So just an example, the bottom sort of sentence, it says, smashed down on the water with a thunderous splash. The writer could have just put smashed down on the water with a splash, but they've chosen to use that word thunderous. So think to yourself, why? What effect is the writer trying to give? So these are the quotes I picked out. Let's talk about these in detail then. Okay, so it swallowed the woman's limbs without chewing. This suggests that the shark is almost like a monster. It's huge. The fact that it can eat a limb, eat the woman's leg without chewing, suggests that it's a really huge monster. Okay, and also it also suggests that without chewing suggests it was easy. It was an easy thing for it. It wasn't a big deal for the shark to do. Massive gullet. So again, the writer could have just put bones and meat passed down the gullet, but they've said massive gullet. So again, massive. The writer's trying to show us the size, that the shark is huge. Again, it could have just said the bones and meat struggled down the massive gullet, but it said passed. Again, passed suggests it was a calm thing. It was easy for the shark to do. Now the fish turned again, homing on the stream. So now the fish turned again, so it suggests the shark is not finished. It's not going to stop till the job's done. And homing in, it almost is like it's narrowing in on the blood. So it's almost seen its prey, and it's going to finish the job. Blood flushing from the woman. It could have said the blood trickles from the woman, but the word flushing suggests it's by its cause almost a waterfall of blood. It's an awful image for the reader. This time the fish attacked from below. Again, it could have just said the fish attacked from below, but this time suggests it's almost a constant stream of attacks. The shark is coming and coming and coming. Struck her like a train suggests the brute force, almost like we can imagine like what happens to a human body if a train strikes it. So 100 miles an hour, it's almost like it's breaking the woman into pieces. Crushing bones, flesh and organs into a jelly. So again, the verb crushing shows the power. So it's tearing her into pieces. It's making her not a human body anymore. And bones become jelly. Or again, shows the strength the shark has. Smashed on the water, thunderous splash. Smashed on the water, thunderous splash. Again, smashed and thunderous both suggest the brute force of the strength of the shark. And blood in a violent shower, almost like the blood flushing one. Shower suggests was the blood's coming out powerfully. If you can imagine like a shower in your bathroom, the blood was coming out like that from her because of what the shark had done to her. Okay, how are you going to write your grade 5 answer? Use a quote and say why it shows the shark to be violent and powerful. 1 or 2 sentences per quote. No waffle or long PEs. So we're looking for 5 or 6 points or quote, not 2 huge PEs. Where students go wrong is they will pick out a quote and then they will write 8 or 9 lines based on the quote. And to be honest, most of the time they're just repeating the same point. So it's much better to make 5 or 6 points of 1 or 2 lines, show the examiner you've used coverage, you've gone all through the extract, than do one big PE. So do 5 or 6 little PEs and I'll show you examples. Okay, one quote we could have is, the shark is shown to be powerful and extremely large with a description of his gullet is massive. First of all, I've put 2 quotes in there, so that's a good thing. And I've basically said that I'm linking the word massive to the shark being huge and large. So this student gives a quote and explains why it makes the shark violent and powerful. They've linked the word massive to big size. And massive makes it seem more powerful than just saying gullet. So if it had just said the gullet, but what you say the massive gullet, it's telling the reader straight away that this shark is huge. Next one. The blood from the woman is described as flushing and a shower. So I put 2 quotes from different part of the extract together there. Both of these create a disgusting image for the reader where we picture the blood coming out like a powerful waterfall. So again, this student gives a quote and explains why it makes the shark seem violent and powerful. They've linked the word shower to a strong force of water, like the image. This is how the water was coming. This is the image the reader gets. Okay, shower makes it more seem powerful than a drop. So if it had said the blood was coming out of a drop, it gives us a totally different image. Not as scary, not as frightening, not as powerful, not as violent. But shower of blood coming, like thrashing out, really gives us an image of like what the shark can do. The shark crushing bones shows the power of the shark. It has turned her from a human to just pieces of jelly. Again, okay, I'm linking the word crushing to power, to strength, to violence. Okay, This student gives a quote, explain why the shark seems violent and powerful. They've linked the word crush to a strength that will destroy her, almost like this can. Okay, crushing makes it seem more violent than biting. Again, if it was said biting bones or grabbing bones, but crushing bones almost makes it sound like the bones go to almost to little pieces of dust. And again, I've got another quote in there to show the exam, get as many quotes as I can. Basically the same point. So it's turned our human bones into jelly, so almost into this sort of liquidy. That's how much the shark has sort of destroyed her. Okay, so let's look at them more in detail. Again, remember, I'm going to show you probably about 9. You'd only need 5 or 6 of these. So that one, first one, we say the passage starts by saying the shark swallowed the woman's limb without chewing. This shows the enormous size of the shark as it ate the woman whole with little trouble. The point about the extreme, okay, that's the one I've already made. The writer says the fish turned again, which suggests the shark has not finished and he has a taste for blood. Homing suggests the shark is narrowing in on its prey. This time suggests the shark is coming in a constant stream of attacks. The reader knows it won't stop until it has killed the woman. The simile struck her like a chain gives the reader the image of a shark having a quick, brutal force. The shark crushing bones shows the power of the shark. It's turned her from a human to just pieces of jelly. The extra ends of using words that show the strength of the shark with smashed and thunderous. These words are both violent, aggressive, punishing. This is how we now view the shark. Again, I've got 3, 6, 8 here. You probably need 5 or 6, but remember to take it from start, middle and end. Okay, again, so this is what I've done. I've narrowed it down now to 5. I picked the 5 best ones to begin, middle and end. So this is more like what you would need to do. Remember, you've only got 5 or 6 minutes. And look at detail. 11 quotes. Okay, I did. However, actually not 11 quotes because I've narrowed it down. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got about 8 quotes. Okay, I've done my quotes in order, and I've also used phrases like straight away and finally. So if you look at the bottom one, I've put the extra end. So this shows that I'm doing it in order. The examiner that I'm doing it from start, middle, and end. And no points. I've got no points more than 3 lines. In fact, most of them are 2 lines or 1 line. And all the way through I keep commenting how it makes the shark seem violent and scary. Okay, all of them. I've made a point, a simple point, I've moved on. I've not waffled on for 3 or 4 sentences. A couple of sentences, couple of lines, move on to my next quote. So again, why do we want a lot of quotes? Well, basically, this is a 10 mark one, for example, a bit different to the one I showed you. This one used 4 quotes, so I can only really get 3 out of 10. And this one used 11 quotes, so 9 out of 10. So always as many quotes as you can is going to do well for you, get you a high mark. Remember the how question overview, explain why you've picked the quote and what the words mean. Use as many examples as you can, even 5 minutes for a 5-minute question or 30 minutes for a 10-mark question. And remember, from now on, 8 to 10 quotes per question for a 10 mark, 5 to 6 quotes for a 5 mark. Take quotes from the beginning, middle and end. No P's more than 3 lines on an A4 page. Explain why your quote links to the exam and don't mention similes alliteration unless you've got an amazing point about them. Okay, hope this helped.